After my brother went bankrupt, I was handed over to a New York City tycoon to settle the debt. I was with him for 3 years, and then I discovered I was pregnant. That night, I carefully tested the waters. Do you like kids? His calm eyes seemed to see right through me. No. They're a hassle. And a child out of wedlock is an even bigger one. My heart stopped. I knew it was time for me to leave. But less than a month later, Adrien threw me over his shoulder, blanket and all. His voice was terrifyingly low. The debt's not paid off yet. You think you can run? Not a chance. I was half asleep that night when I heard the bedroom door open. Then, I felt a pair of eyes on me, lingering for a long time. A moment later, a pair of arms, cool and damp, pulled me into an embrace. The faint smell of alcohol on him made me frown. I groggily looked up at Adrien. You been drinking? Adrien's voice was husky. Just a little. Had a meeting. I nodded, still half asleep, but his hands were already wandering. His calloused fingers slid expertly under my pajamas, finding all my sensitive spots. I was too tired and just wanted to sleep. I turned and snuggled into his arms, wrapping my arms around his lean waist and pressing my face against his broad chest. I mumbled, "Let's just sleep. I'm so tired today." Adrien's hand traced my cheek, and then his dry lips pressed against mine. I heard his hoarse voice again. You don't have to do anything. Why would you be tired? Then, his large hands gripped my waist, and he flipped me over, pinning me beneath him. His hot kisses landed on my neck and chest. He grabbed my wrists as I tried to push him away, holding them above my head. I was a lamb to the slaughter. My pajamas were quickly stripped away, his own robe tossed aside sometime in the chaos. I was forced to endure his relentless passion, again and again. It was almost 11 in the morning when I woke up. Adrien was long gone. My body had been washed clean, the sticky sweat from last night was gone. I grabbed a robe from the side of the bed and put it on. The moment I stood up, I nearly collapsed. I looked at the red marks all over my body and couldn't help but curse him in my head. He acts so prim and proper in public, but in bed, he's a total animal, and I'm the bone he's chewing on. Biting and gnawing. I sat on the edge of the bed for a moment before getting up and going downstairs. Carla, the housekeeper, was cleaning. When she saw me, she immediately said, "Miss Stella, you're awake. I made some chicken soup with herbs. Let me get you a bowl." The smell of chicken soup wafting from the kitchen suddenly made my stomach churn. I covered my nose and quickly said, "No, thanks. I just woke up. I can't eat." Carla looked surprised. It was rare for me to turn down food. After all, there were times Adrien had worn me out so much that my record of eating a whole chicken in one meal had shocked her. Later, Carla made me some porridge and a side dish. As I was enjoying it, I got a message from Judy, another girl in a similar situation. You up? Yeah, what's up? Want to go shopping? Huh, you know me so well. I squeezed a credit card with a $500,000 limit out of Jason last night. My treat today. I teased her back. That $500,000 couldn't have been easy to get. Haven't seen you out in days. Been busy in the bedroom? All I got back was a string of ellipses. Judy and I met up at the mall that afternoon and grabbed some boba first. But then, in the distance, I saw a familiar back. It was Adrien. And he was with a woman, not his mom, and not his sister. It was a woman I'd never seen before. Judy followed my gaze. I saw her eyes flicker, and she tried to pull me away. Knowing her, something was up. After some serious threats and blackmail on my part, Judy finally hesitated and said, "I only heard this from that asshole Jason. He said Adrien's old flame is back in town." His old flame? Yeah. Apparently, she's 6 years older than him. She married some guy and moved abroad, but I guess she got divorced and came back. For some reason, a bitter feeling crept into my heart. I quickly shook my head to clear it. I should be happy. The woman Adrien loves is back. Maybe he'll let me go early. Judy looked at me nervously. Are you upset? I forced a smile. You know me. It's just physical, never emotional. A hint of sadness crossed Judy's eyes. Right. It can only be physical. After shopping for a while, Judy picked a restaurant for dinner. But before the food even arrived, that same morning sickness washed over me again. I rushed to the bathroom, feeling like I was going to throw up but couldn't. Judy followed me, worried. I splashed some water on my face and gave her a weak smile. Suddenly, Judy seemed to realize something. She leaned in and whispered, Stella, did you get your period this month? Her question made me stop. I realized my period was over 2 weeks late. Seeing me stare blankly at her, Judy pressed on, Stella, you don't think you're pregnant, do you? My jaw dropped. No, that's impossible. We always use. Then it hit me. About a month ago, Adrien had been drugged at some event. He'd pulled me into the car and we'd gone at it again and again. He was so frantic he didn't use anything. My gaze drifted down to my stomach. No way. Just that one time without protection and The hospital confirmed it. When the doctor handed me the report saying I was 5 weeks pregnant, I felt like my world was collapsing. But before it could fully crumble, my attention was caught by Adrien and his old flame, Clare, being personally greeted by the hospital director at the entrance. I watched as they walked into the OB/GYN department together. On some strange impulse, I followed them. I hid around a corner. After a while, Adrien and Clare came out. Clare's eyes were sparkling as she looked at Adrien, waving the test results in her hand. A smile touched Adrien's lips. People were constantly walking by. His voice was choppy, but I still caught the keywords. This baby came at the perfect time. A product of our love. Clare excitedly hugged Adrien's arm. He paused for a second, then looked down at her, his eyes full of affection. He was handsome, she was beautiful. They were a perfect couple. In that instant, the world started spinning. Judy had to grab me to keep me from falling. I sat on a hospital bench for what felt like an eternity. I touched my stomach. I shouldn't have gotten my hopes up. I gave a bitter laugh, but I couldn't stop my eyes from welling up. Judy hugged me, her heart aching for me. She couldn't stop cursing him, calling him a scumbag who sleeps around and isn't afraid of catching something. I pushed down the sharp pain in my chest and shook my head. It was very late when Adrien came home. I had been waiting for him on the sofa for a long time. He seemed surprised to see me still awake. Why are you still up? I smiled. I wanted to wait for you, so we could sleep together. I stood up, walked over, and wrapped my arms around his waist. The faint scent of a woman's perfume on him made my heart sink. I had been greedy. I'd fallen for my sugar daddy and had tried to possess him completely. After his shower, as he was drying his hair, I asked casually, Adrien, do you like kids? His hand paused for a second. Then I heard his flat voice. No. They're a hassle. And a child out of wedlock is an even bigger one. Even though I already knew the answer, hearing him say it still made my heart ache. His dark eyes stared at me as if he could see right through me. I forced a smile. I was just curious what a guy like you would be like with a kid. I'm going to bed. I wrapped myself tightly in the blankets. No matter how much it hurt, I held back my tears. I couldn't cry. It would be a disaster if my sugar daddy found out his trophy girl was pregnant. So, for the next few days, I paid close attention to Adrien's schedule. When I heard he was going to Australia for a business trip next week, I sent a text to a certain number. The following days, Adrien was swamped, working late into the night every day. I waited for him on the living room couch, hugging my knees and staring into space. When Adrien walked in and saw me, he frowned and loosened his tie with a hint of irritation. Then he said flatly, "You don't have to wait up for me." I lowered my head and gave a bitter smile, taking the suit jacket he'd taken off. It had the faint scent of jasmine on it. It wasn't my scent, and it wasn't Adrien's. It was obvious whose it was. Adrien started sleeping in the study. The man who used to be tangled with me almost every night had suddenly grown cold. Was he trying to draw a line between us? The next night, I fell asleep while waiting for him. When I woke up again, it was already bright daylight, and I was still on the couch. A blanket was draped over me. I looked at my watch. It was 7 in the morning. I looked around. At this time, Adrien should be having breakfast. I got off the couch and hurried to the dining table, but I only saw the maid setting the table. "Where's Adrien?" I asked. The maid smiled. "Mr. Vance didn't come home last night. Please have some breakfast, Miss Stella." I nodded numbly. Just as I sat down, a news alert popped up on my phone. The headline was so bold I clicked it without thinking. Vance Corp. CEO and mystery woman enter hotel at 11 p.m. last night. Wedding bells ahead. There was a photo, too. Adrien was wearing the suit I had picked out for him. The woman next to him was no stranger, either. It was Clare. They weren't touching, but what else would they be doing, entering a hotel together? Maybe it was my mood, but the smell of the side dishes the maid put in front of me made me nauseous. I spent a long time dry heaving in the bathroom. The maid asked worriedly if she should call the family doctor. I waved her off. No need. I just didn't sleep well last night. I stayed in bed all day, with no appetite and no energy. At some point, Adrien came home. He seemed exhausted. He went straight to the bathroom for a shower. I lay in bed, not moving. It took him a long time to notice I was there. He didn't seem to notice anything was wrong with me, just said blandly, "The new Hermes collection is out. I left it for you in the closet." I forced a smile. "Thank you, Mr. Vance." Adrien, who was drying his hair, froze for a moment. He turned his flat gaze on me. "What did you call me?" "Mr. Vance." He suddenly let out a small laugh and walked toward me. He leaned down, his deep eyes locking onto mine. "Why not Adrien anymore?" I smiled. "Well, you are my boss. I should show some respect." Adrien's brow furrowed in annoyance. He stared at me for a long time before saying coldly, "Suit yourself." That night, Adrien finally slept in the bedroom, but it was like there was a canyon between us. It was like that for days. Soon, it was the day of Adrien's business trip. We ate breakfast facing each other in silence. Just before he left, I heard him speak. "Make a list of what you want and send it to me." I just grunted in response. Adrien's dark eyes studied me for a moment before he turned and left. The day after he left, I deleted all my contacts, converted some of my money to cash, and put the rest on Judy's card. Then I disappeared. I had already booked a flight. At an airport in a foreign country, I saw my brother for the first time in 3 years. He looked more mature, more rugged. My brother quickly took me to where he was living now, a beautiful manor. It was true that my brother went bankrupt 3 years ago. But me being handed over to Adrien to pay off the debt, that was my idea. My brother wanted to take me abroad with him, but I didn't want to go. I wanted to take a chance, to fight for the secret crush I'd had for so many years. Even if I couldn't have his heart, I wanted his body. So when I showed up at Adrien's doorstep that year, drenched in rain, he seemed completely stunned. I explained why I was there. His face darkened, and then he let out a frustrated curse. He furiously tried to call my brother, but just as I had instructed, my brother's phone was off. Adrien couldn't reach him. That night, I fainted from a fever right in front of him. He had no choice but to let me stay. My brother did owe him a lot of money. From then on, I stayed by his side under the pretext of paying off the debt. One night, after he'd had too much to drink, I managed to get him into bed. After that, it was like a whole new world opened up for Adrien. He was insatiable. Everyone in his circle knew about me. At first, they'd joke about how it felt to go from an heiress to someone's mistress. But one sharp look from Adrien was enough to shut them up. In the beginning, I thought maybe he had some feelings for me. Until one time, a business partner asked him if he was just messing around with me. Adrien didn't say a word. That's when I knew I'd lost my bet. But even so, there were no other women in his life. Plus, he was handsome and great in bed. I gradually told myself that keeping it purely physical was fine. I just never expected that he already had someone he loved, and now she was back. That's when I knew it was time to leave. Now, my brother was looking at me with concern. He tried to sound cheerful. "Stella, there are plenty of other fish in the sea. I'll find you someone way more handsome. You have no idea how many hot guys there are overseas." I gave my brother a faint smile. "You don't have to, Leo. I'm pregnant. From now on, you and the baby are all I need." My brother shot up as if he'd been electrocuted, his eyes wide. "Adrien's?" "Yeah. Damn it. I'm going to go back there and let him break my legs if I have to. I swear on my name." I quickly grabbed him. "Leo, he doesn't know. I don't like him anymore. I just want to be with you now." My brother stroked my head, his heart aching for me. He sighed. "This is all my fault. If I hadn't gone bankrupt back then, you wouldn't have had to go through all this. But, Stella, trust me. I've almost paid off all the debt. Things are going to get better for us." "I know. I believe you, Leo. My brother is very busy now, so I'm home alone most of the time." One day, I heard a knock on the door. I thought it was my brother without his keys. I opened the door, about to speak, but froze when I saw a very familiar face. Adrien. I panicked and tried to slam the door shut, but he blocked it with his hand. He strode inside, grabbed a blanket, wrapped me in it, and threw me over his shoulder like a cocooned caterpillar. I struggled, furious. "Adrien, put me down." He swatted my butt. Then I heard his deep voice. "The debt isn't paid off yet. You think you can run? Not a chance." He carried me out and put me in the car. The heavy slam of the car door separated us from the outside world. Adrien seemed incredibly agitated. He locked me in the car. He stood in front of it, frowning, and lit a cigarette. He smoked, the white-blue smoke blurring his features. After a long time, he got back in the car. He saw the angry glare I was giving him. A cold smirk played on his lips, his voice slightly hoarse. "Why did you run?" I snorted, putting on a brave face. "Because I was done. I got tired of the game." I continued, "You didn't want me as your mistress back then, did you? Well, now I'm tired of playing." Adrien looked like he was about to laugh from pure rage. His hand clamped onto my chin. But I'm not. I had to hand it to him. With his perfect girlfriend at home, he was still chasing after me on the side. Wasn't he tired? Wasn't he afraid of working himself to death? The driver must have heard us, because he discreetly raised the partition. The enclosed space held only me and Adrien. With a sudden pull, he yanked me onto his lap. I was wearing loungewear. It was decent enough to wear around the house, but the fabric was thin. He was still in a suit, and the custom material was slick. I tried to shift away from him, but the slippery fabric made me fall right back against him. I think I landed on something I shouldn't have. Adrien grunted, his brow furrowed. He looked up at me, his hand on my waist tightening slightly. He pulled me tight against him, our faces inches apart. His deep voice rumbled, trying to break it. I could feel his body reacting, and my face flushed against my will. "Who told you to hold me?" His rough hand tilted my chin up. "I'll hold you if I want to," he said. I couldn't fight him, so I just turned my head away. Adrien seemed to let out a soft sigh, and then I felt him rest his head on my shoulder. His warm breath ghosted over my ear, making my neck tingle. I couldn't take it anymore. I turned back to ask him what the hell he was doing, but I saw that his eyes were closed. His breathing was deep and even. He seemed to be asleep. That's when I noticed the stubble on his chin. It looked like he hadn't shaved in days. He looked so tired. My hand moved on its own, wanting to touch his face, but I snapped out of it. He didn't need my pity anymore. I pulled my hand back. Soon, we arrived at the airport. Adrien draped his jacket over me and pulled me out of the car. But as soon as we got out, I saw my brother standing not far away. I couldn't help but call out, "Leo." Adrien immediately pulled me behind him. My brother walked toward us. "Adrien, give my sister back." Adrien let out a cold laugh. "Leo, does a man who uses his own sister to pay off his debts even deserve to have a sister?" My brother was clearly provoked. "Adrien, cut the crap. If it wasn't for Stella back then." "Leo." I cut my brother off immediately. Adrien looked at me strangely. I lowered my head, feeling guilty. Adrien turned back to my brother. "What? What about Stella?" My brother scoffed. "Whatever happened with Stella is none of your business." Then he looked at me. "Come on, Stella. Let's go home." I tried to pull my hand out of Adrien's grip, but for some reason, he just held on tighter. His gaze was so intense that my struggles began to slow. Just then, his phone rang. When he picked it up, I saw Claire's name on the screen. That snapped me back to reality. I looked up at him. "Adrien, let go of me. My brother and I will pay you back what we owe, slowly. Don't make me hate you." When he heard that last sentence, Adrien's grip on my hand loosened involuntarily. His eyes were fixed on my face, the light in them fractured and dim. I slowly pulled my hand free. I walked straight to my brother. Behind me, I thought I heard Adrien give a soft, bitter laugh. I could have sworn I heard sadness in it, but I must have been mistaken. I was silent the entire ride back. After a long while, I heard my brother ask tentatively, "You love him that much?" I looked out the window, my voice hoarse. "I don't want to anymore." A few days later, my brother told me he heard from a friend that Adrien hadn't returned to the States. He was worried and wanted to hire a few bodyguards for me. I smiled and told him it wasn't necessary. I knew Adrien too well. He wouldn't do something so over the top a second time, especially not after I had so clearly rejected him. A few days later, I got a call from Judy. "Stella, where are you? I just found out from that jerk Jason what's been going on. I'm with my brother now." "I'm fine, don't worry." There was a hint of envy in her voice. "Stella, you can finally live your own life now." I could hear the loneliness in her tone. Over 3 years, we had become the best of friends. After a moment, I said, "Judy, if you want to leave Jason, I can help you." She was silent for a long time after I said that. "Stella, Jason is getting engaged." "Judy, I remember you hadn't even finished college when you got with Jason. Do you ever think about studying abroad?" Judy paused, then said with certainty, "Yes." "Okay, leave the rest to me." Within a few days, I had arranged everything for her at a university. Judy's mother had passed away 6 months earlier. She had no family left in the city, so she quickly embarked on her journey to study abroad. The very next day, Jason showed up at my house, furious, with Adrien trailing behind him. Compared to Jason's rage, Adrien just looked desolate. My brother wasn't home, so Jason and his men got in easily. The usually easygoing Jason was now radiating anger, but with Adrien there, he seemed to be trying his best to control it. "Stella, where's Judy?" I sat lazily on the sofa, my gaze drifting over the two men. "She's gone." Jason took a step forward but was held back by Adrien. Adrien's voice was raspy. "Jason, get a hold of yourself." Jason shook him off. Like you controlled yourself when you couldn't find Stella and dragged me out in the middle of the night? Adrien shot me a guilty look. Jason. I glanced at Adrien, confused. He immediately looked away. Jason looked like he wasn't leaving until he got an answer. I looked up at him and chuckled. Judy said you're getting engaged? Jason froze. She left because of that? I glanced between the two men. Or did you want to have your perfect fiancé at home and a girl on the side? Jason sounded desperate. I never wanted to get engaged. That was all my family's doing. I never agreed to it. Then what is Judy to you? Jason suddenly looked flustered. I want to tell her in person. I'll ask Judy if she's willing to talk to you. Jason was about to say more, but Adrien stopped him. Just then, the smell of cooking drifted from the kitchen. It wasn't a strong smell, but since getting pregnant, my sense of smell had become incredibly sensitive. The scent made my stomach turn. I rushed to the bathroom, but I couldn't throw anything up. I hadn't eaten much that morning, so my stomach was empty. The moment I reached the bathroom, Adrien rushed in behind me. Seeing me dry heaving, he asked with a panicked look, "Stella, what's wrong?" I was about to wave him away when another wave of nausea hit me. The next second, Adrien scooped me up into his arms. I gasped and instinctively wrapped my arms around his neck. "Adrien, put me down," I said quickly. His face was terrifyingly grim. "Is this how Leo takes care of you?" "We're going to the hospital." "What does my brother have to do with this?" "You've only been back a few days. You were already skinny, and now you're even thinner and throwing up. That has nothing to do with my brother." "How does it not?" I struggled, trying to get him to put me down, but he was incredibly strong. The maid and Jason, who were standing outside, stared in shock as we emerged from the bathroom. Jason's eyes widened in awe. "Damn, Adrien, you've got moves. Just carry her home like that." Adrien snapped, "Shut up and drive. We're going to the hospital." Jason looked confused for a second, then quickly recovered. Right. The maid tried to stop us, but one look from Adrien made her back away. All she could say was, "Call Mr. Leo, quickly." Adrien forced me into the car and sat right beside me. Jason jumped into the driver's seat. I tried to get out the other side, but Adrien held me down by the shoulder. "Adrien, this is kidnapping." I heard him let out a cold laugh. "If you don't behave, I'm going to kiss you." I immediately clamped my hands over my mouth. Have you no shame?" "None." Before I could reply, I heard Jason chuckle. Adrien and I snapped in unison, "What are you laughing at?" Great. Now we were speaking in sync, which only made Jason laugh harder. I started plotting my escape from the hospital. I didn't want to tell Adrien about the baby yet. But my thoughts were constantly interrupted by Jason, who relentlessly pestered me about Judy's whereabouts. I brushed him off every time. Soon, we arrived at the hospital. The moment I got out of the car, Adrien picked me up again. People kept turning to stare at us. My face turned red. "Put me down. I can walk." But Adrien seemed to know something. He looked at me and said flatly, "Stella, did you know that when you're feeling guilty, you pick at your fingers?" Huh? I followed his gaze and saw that I was, indeed, picking at my fingers. I quickly stopped. I was not. Adrien didn't say anything else, just strode forward. A single, soft sentence floated back to me. "If you don't let me carry you peacefully, I don't mind throwing you over my shoulder." Adrien quickly got me inside the private hospital, in which he was a shareholder. So, within 10 minutes, I was sitting in front of a doctor. The doctor asked me what was wrong. I turned my head away and said nothing. The doctor looked at Adrien, unsure what to do. Adrien spoke directly. "She's nauseous. Really nauseous." The doctor asked a series of questions. I remained silent, but Adrien answered them all fluently. He only faltered when the doctor asked about my recent diet, because we'd been apart for nearly half a month. The doctor ordered a series of tests. I didn't want to go, but I had no choice. Soon, the results were in front of Adrien. The doctor looked at them and said, "Ms. Stella is almost 2 months pregnant." Adrien's gaze slowly fell on me. Jason stood in the doorway, a give-me-the-tea expression on his face, even giving Adrien a thumbs up. It wasn't until we were out of the office that Adrien, standing beside me, finally spoke. "Why didn't you tell me? If I hadn't brought you to the hospital, were you never going to tell me?" I looked at him calmly. "Adrien, if I had told you, what would you have done?" Before he could finish, I cut him off. "You told me you don't like kids. Especially a child out of wedlock. It's a hassle." Adrien froze at my words. I didn't want to say any more and turned to leave. He reached for me, but just then, my brother's voice echoed down the hallway. "Stella. Leo, I'm over here." My brother quickly stepped in front of me. There was a handsome man with him. I later remembered he was my brother's best friend from high school. He gently touched my shoulder, as if to tell me not to be afraid. My brother looked at Adrien. "What right do you have to take my sister?" Adrien's eyes never left me. It was as if he hadn't even heard my brother. Then his gaze shifted to the man beside me. Instantly, the pressure in the air dropped. After a long moment, I heard his low voice. "Stella, I'll answer your question now. First, I will marry you. Second, it's true I don't like kids. Because my mother died in childbirth with my sister. I'll never forget that day. When she went to the hospital, she was smiling, telling me she'd make me sweet rice balls when she got back. The next time I saw her, she was a cold body. And my father. Not even a month after my mother was gone, he brought home another woman. That woman had a boy with her, only a year or two younger than me. He even wanted to give the family business, the one my mother suffered for years to help him build, to that illegitimate son. My brother had told me about both of these things, but I never knew they were such deep wounds for him. I only knew that after he came of age, he had ruthlessly kicked his father and stepfamily out of the country. Maybe he couldn't bring himself to be completely merciless, because he did give his father a small company overseas to manage. Hearing his explanation, my heart trembled for some reason. My hand tightened on my brother's sleeve. After a moment, I gave a self-deprecating laugh. "Adrien, Clare is still at home waiting for you." Adrien looked confused. "What does Clare have to do with this?" "Adrien, I know everything." With that, I pulled my brother and left, a powerful gaze fixed on my back the entire time. That night, lying in bed, I thought about what my brother had said to me later. "Do you really love him that much?" "Yes, I do. A lot." It went all the way back to my first year of college. I went to a bar with my roommate. 2 innocent girls, we quickly became prey. And that's when Adrien appeared. He kicked the man in front of me to the ground. It was such a cliché, but I could never forget him after that. I saw him again at a few business events. I asked my brother about him. My brother told me to stay away, that he was manipulative, a killer in a suit. But I didn't think so. How bad could a person who saves someone be? I made sure to appear in front of him several times until he finally remembered my name. And then, I took the initiative to become his trophy girl. I thought being close to him would give me an advantage, but I guess I failed. My mind was still lost in sadness when a tapping sound on the window jolted me out of it. I pulled open the curtains, confused, and saw Adrien clinging precariously to the window ledge. He whispered, "Stella, open the window. I need to talk to you." I didn't want to deal with him and was about to close the curtains. But then I saw him wobble, and I panicked, throwing the window open. "What are you doing? This is the 3rd floor. Are you trying to get yourself killed?" Adrien seized the opportunity and jumped inside, not looking unstable at all. Before I could speak, he said, "Don't say anything yet. Just listen. What? He stepped closer, his voice urgent. First, I think you've misunderstood. There's nothing going on between me and Claire. I was looking after her because her ex-husband asked me to. He's my cousin. He's dealing with some serious issues right now and couldn't come back to be with her, so he asked for my help. I admit, I had a crush on her when I was a teenager and almost confessed, but as I got older, I realized it wasn't love. It was just a kind of dependency. Second, the person I love is you, Stella. I don't know when it started, but I began to want to be with you all the time. You're cute and innocent, but also warm and vibrant. You have all these qualities I lost a long time ago, and they draw me in constantly. I fell for you, shamefully. Third, I admit it was my fault for not explaining who Claire was right away. I wanted to see if you cared that there was another woman around me. I wanted to be your partner, not just your sugar daddy. But I regret it now. Even if you only see me as a sugar daddy, I'll take it. I have a lot of money, way more than your brother. Stella, I'll give it all to you. Just don't leave, okay? The man in front of me lowered his head, his eyes red at the corners. His hands were clenched into tight fists at his sides. I looked at him and suddenly started laughing. And then laughing turned to crying. Adrien frantically wiped my tears. Don't cry. If you really don't want to see me, I'll go. Just don't cry. I punched his shoulder. Adrien, I hate you. Then I tripped over the leg of a chair and fell right into his arms. His unique scent enveloped me. His gaze slowly settled on my lips. He lowered his head, moving closer. But all he did was gently wipe away my tears. Then he pulled me into his arms. It's all my fault. Please stop crying, okay? I cried for a long time before I finally calmed down. Adrien asked cautiously, So, Stella, you like me too, right? He looked at me, a hint of anxiety in his eyes. If I didn't like you, I wouldn't have slept with you. You think I'm that easy? Adrien chuckled and pulled me tightly into his embrace. I heard him murmur, This is great, this is so great. But I cut him off. What's so great? I never said I forgive you. Then I pushed him toward the window. You should go. Stella. Hurry up. It felt good to be in charge. Watching this tall, elegant man climb out the window like a thief was incredibly satisfying. I slept better that night than I had in a long time. When I left my room, I saw my brother on the sofa talking to a man who looked very familiar. It was Adrien. My brother waved me over. For once, Adrien was dressed conservatively, sitting there like a student called into the principal's office. There was a folder on the table. My brother glanced at Adrien impatiently, then looked at me. Stella, some things you have to decide for yourself. Adrien says he's willing to transfer all his assets to you as a dowry. This is the agreement. Take a look. I numbly picked up the document. It listed every single one of Adrien's assets in meticulous detail. This was everything he had fought tooth and nail to take back from his father and stepmother, and now he was just handing it all to me. I clenched my fists. Are you serious? Adrien nodded solemnly. He nervously clenched the hands resting on his knees. None of this is as important as you. I was trying so hard not to smile. I turned to my brother. He saw my ridiculous expression and looked exasperated. After a moment, I finally said, Adrien, if I agree to this, you'll be working for me from now on. The man's gaze was incredibly serious. Yes, he said. I'm willing. My brother couldn't take it anymore. You're willing, I'm willing, save it for the wedding. Adrien, you're a grown man. Do you have to be so cheesy? Soon after, Adrien and I had our wedding. I invited Judy, of course, telling her I'd understand if she didn't want to come because of Jason. But on the wedding day, I saw her there. She cried when she saw Adrien and I exchange rings. She left soon after, though. I caught a glimpse of Jason following her. Before I could look closer, Adrien turned my face back toward him. His deep voice rumbled, "Your husband is over here." Then he cupped my face, his thin lips landing precisely on mine. I playfully bit his lip, and he let out a soft grunt of pain. "Trying to act tough with me? Prepare to sleep on the couch tonight."